What's up, everybody? Last week we put out videos for the long range meta, the close range meta, and snipers. Unfortunately, ran out of time before I went on vacation to do a loadout setup video. That's what we're doing today. I will link the long range, short range, and sniper meta videos down below. I'll also have my Twitch down below if you want to see me use anything live. If you have new suggestions, if you want to come tell me that my suggestions were stupid live, Twitch is linked down below. So are all my social medias, my single player channel. If you want to check out anything, feel free. But today, when I mean set up loadouts, what wildcards should you have? What perks should you have? We're not going to go too deep into perks. I think that's going to be its own separate video because we're going to talk about it more. So we're definitely doing wildcards. We're definitely doing 8 attachments versus 5 attachments, everything like that. So you can use your loadouts to help you win games more easily. We'll talk about 8 attachments versus 5 attachments and all of that. But instead of just babbling on, let me go ahead and jump over to the loadout screen. So what you'll notice with the loadouts is we have our GPR with 8 attachments because that's the AR we're using right now. We have the Jackal with 8 attachments because that's the SMG we're using. And then we have an Overkill GPR and Jackal class because that is our main class. Then below it, we have the LR 762 Sniper. This is my 8 attachment one. And we also have the PP919 8 attachment, even though it only has 7. So this is the sniper that I'm using. The Cat is the best sniper because it's the only one that I know for sure one-shot headshots. If the Moors does, I think the range is just long. But if the Moors does, then of course that I think would be number 1. But I'm enjoying the LR762. So we have that for 8 attachment. We have the PP for 9 attachment, which is the sniper support I'm choosing to use because I think it's the best true SMG sniper support. There might be some other better sniper support options out there, but I'm enjoying using the PP for my sniper support. So then we have the same thing. We have an LR and a PP overkill class. And then below we have a Jackal 5 attachment class. And we'll talk more about why that's down there in a second. So first thing is we have 8 attachment classes because ideally if you can get 2 loadouts, you want 2 guns that have 8 attachments. So since you can't have 8 attachments on an overkill loadout, of course, we have to have 2 loadouts with 8 attachments. So you're going to want that. Plus, even if you want to grab overkill loadouts, whether that's because you're regaining and you can only afford 1 loadout, you weren't able to buy a loadout, so you're landing on free loadout, whatever it may be, you, of course, want to be able to have a true primary and secondary and not a primary and technically a secondary. So that's why you want overkill classes and you have 8 attachment classes. Of course, you can do this however you want. If you don't snipe, you don't need a sniper. If you just have other ARs and SMGs you prefer, you can do whatever you want. This is just what I'm doing. But you should have at least your main AR, sniper, LMG, whatever your long range option is with an 8 attachment loadout. Your SMG, your secondary, if you use shotguns, should be another 8 attachment loadout, and then you should have overkill. If you want to have sniper support, and the overkill for sniping, go ahead and do that as well. So another reason why we have 8 attachment GPR, 8 attachment Jackal, then this GPR, then an LR 8, a PP 9 8 attachment, LR 9 attachment, and then we have this Jackal 5 attachment here. We have that for 2 reasons. 1, 8 attachment guns are more expensive in the buy station. So if we only want a 5 attachment gun, so we can buy the GPR cheaper. But we can't also we don't have a 5 attachment SMG. We can't buy the Jackal, which has 5 attachments here, as when it's in the overkill loadout because it's in that secondary slot and the buy only has them in the primary slot. So if we want a 5 attachment SMG, we have to have a class for that. The other reason we have a class for that is because we have gunfighter, overkill, 2 more gunfighters, and an overkill. But there is another wild card that you should have a loadout in, and that's battle ready. With battle ready, you get a UAV and you get a utility box, so plates and ammo. This is super good if, let's say, you're late game or you already have both your guns for whatever reason, and your teammates buy a loadout, especially if it's late, gulag's closed, no buy stations, you're not likely to come back. Everyone else hits the loadout. You don't want to waste it. You can go to loadout, you can get a free UAV, you can get a utility box. If people are hitting loadouts, they could probably use ammo and plates as well. It's probably a regain unless they're just switching weapons. And if you are somebody who doesn't need that loadout, or you bought your primary to buy, you just need a secondary, or vice versa. You can do whatever you want for your 5 attachment and battle ready. Then you have then you can go get your second gun, plus you get a UAV utility box fill up. So it's really good for regains, really good for late game, or whenever you have a loadout that, hey, zone's about to eat and you're going to waste, you can go get a free UAV and utility box. Utility boxes, last time I checked, still aren't in the buys, and UAVs are $6,000. So if you have a loadout just wasting away, for instead of $6,000 and hoping to find one in some loot or from getting a care package, you can just get a UAV and utility box for free. So it's really useful to have a battle ready loadout. Of course, you can do more than one if you have other 5 attachment guns. And while we're on the topics of wildcard, of course, we know why we're using gunfighter for 8 attachments. We know why we're using battle ready. We just explained it, and we know why we're using overkill. Bandolier, I don't think is worth using. Of course, you can loot UAVs and you can loot utility boxes, but getting both of them quickly is difficult and expensive. And Bandolier gives you a munition satchel, which is also loot, but I seem to find those more often. Plus, a UAV and utility box has more use for you and your team in that game than being able to carry a little extra ammo and a couple more throwables. So you can use Bandolier. If you wanted to, if you wanted Bandolier, you could follow the same logic. Now I could put like my PP 919 because I don't have a 5 attachment one that I could buy as my next loadout, and then I could put that so that way I could get a free utility vest for me, a teammate, whoever. So there is a use case for that, but if you're gonna exclude a wild card, Bandolier is the one to exclude. Whoops, I forgot to talk about the secondary slot and the melee slot, so of course we're gonna do that now. If I'm being honest, I'm not 100% sure which pistol is best, but typically auto pistols perform well in Warzone. If you want to stick with Black Ops 6, sorry, I have to change that off of multiplayer. This is what I would go with. I would go with the Grekova, and there's 2 ways that I would do this. I would either go this build right here. We have a Kepler Microflex, and if you want to go iron sights, I had this because I was camo grinding multiplayer. You can drop that and go with the compensator like we do on all of our other loadouts. We go with reinforced barrel, of course, for damage range and bullet velocity. Extended mag 2 because you get 60 in automatic pistol. It's a pocket SMG. And then commando grip for aim down sight and sprint to fire speed. And then I have rapid fire on, but otherwise go with the Makarov over pressured. The other way to run this is go ahead and drop commando grip, go to stock and go weighted stock's interesting, but you hurt your aim down sight and sprint speed. I don't even know what alternate is. And then you can go with Kimbo, dual wield them, and then I would go with this here. You could drop the rapid fire because you have 2 of them, and then go to steady aim laser. And honestly, that's probably what I would do. I would probably go ahead and I mean, you're hip firing, so I'm not too worried about damage range or bullet velocity. This is how I would do it if I did it akimbo. Of course, there's other options here. We're not going to go into the loadouts fully because I'm sticking with Black Ops 6 stuff. Don't know how good the FTAC Siege is or the X13 Auto, but those are 2 other auto pistols from MW2. And then from MW3, of course, we have the WSP Stinger, which actually was pretty meta, and we just didn't talk about it in North America. And then you have the Renetti with the conversion kit, which is also very good. Those are really your options. We can go, we're not going to go launchers for kind of obvious reasons. Interesting, the spears under launcher here. But we're not going to go any of the launchers for obvious reasons. And then we have the special category here, the Siren 9mm. At the time of recording this, and I doubt by the time I post this that tomorrow that this is going to be unlocked. You can unlock it by a bundle. It will probably take over the secondary slot because it's better than a pistol and better than a couple SMGs. So this will probably be, don't have a loadout for you because it's not unlocked for the whole community yet, and I won't be covering it until it is because I'm not going to promote pay to win. But this will probably take over your secondary slot, and we'll see what the loadout is. And then as far as the melee slot, not a too big a deal. I would go gutter knife. I would go karambit. If you're going MW3, I have the gutter knife on here actually because I have the Holly Ho Life chocolate bar. MW, oh, it's broke. There we go. MW2, go combat knife. Everything else is too slow. Or Tonfa, I guess. And then go knife here. So the big thing here is the mobility. I mean, it looks like they have it all the same, but I just don't trust them to actually have it all the same. And you can see if you look at the MW2 ones are actually changing on mobility. You go Gladiator too, but the main purpose of the melee slot is unlimited attack sprint, which of course if you're using Sprinter isn't a huge deal. But it gives you unlimited attack sprint, and you want this thing with the fastest movement, and that's going to be one of the knives or the small handhelds like the Karambit or the Gladiator. So that's what you want to do for your pistol and your melee slot. Back to the rest of the main video. Like I said, we're going to talk, because we want to talk deeply about perks in another video. So we talked about how you should set up your loadouts. We talked about wildcards. Perks is going to be a video probably tomorrow. So we're going to go lethals, tacticals really quick. Of course, the frag is still good. It did get a nerf. Semtex got a nerf. Molotov thermal blast trap is essentially a mine. Well, it is a mine pretty much. Then spring mine's obviously a mine, so blast trap's kind of like a claymore. Then throwing knife, combat axe. If we're looking at what's the best throwable though, I think it's impact grenade. I don't have a damage measurement on it, but the Semtex and the frag got heavily nerfed, and there's two big things with the impact grenade, right? So frag is hard to counter without a trophy, but you have to cook it, you have to time it right. Semtex, the enemies get a warning before it explodes. I mean, if you throw it a long distance, I guess they don't. Same thing with thermobaric. Molotov, if you don't hit people dead on and they react quick, you're not going to kill them. Drill charge is a kill, but you have to stick. You have to stick them, and when it comes to a wall, it's usually not going to knock people, so it's not super useful. C4 is not an automatic down. Neither is blast trap, spring mine. Throwing knives and combat axe, really good for being aggressive. Or finishing knocks. If you're really good with it, you can break somebody, or if you break them, run out of ammo, you can knock them. But the big thing with the impact grenade is, like I said, without a trophy, there is no counter. And on top of that, the other ones that don't really have much of a counter all kind of have timers. Like Molotovs, you have to hit directly. So where that takes it is like C4, blast trap, spring mine. You can't really vertinade people on roofs. And if you don't know what a vertinade is, it's literally throwing up a grenade and having it land on a roof, on the other side of a wall, etc. But the impact grenade has no timer. There's no warning because it blows up immediately on impact. And so people won't necessarily know it's coming. And you could throw it up on top of a high building. You can throw it really high over a wall because the wall is not very big, so you don't want any distance. So you can throw it really high and have it come back down on the other side with no warning before it blows up, no timer to make it blow up in midair. So it's really good for vertinating. A direct impact, I'm 99% sure, is it down, and it still does a lot of damage if it's close splash damage. So there's no advantage to Semtex, frag, thermobaric over any of them. The typical throwables, Molotov even. The frag a little bit because you can cook it and make it so it doesn't really have a counter. But the impact is the only one that doesn't have a counter besides a trophy. So I think the impact is best. And then stim shots. Smokes are still good. They're still good, but they're not great. A lot less people are running smokes. And now that you can't store them, if you have the munitions vest, like if you got Bandolier, you looted one, you can carry 3 smokes, maybe 4. And it's a little better then, especially if you can carry munitions. But the smoke also isn't as thick and hard to see through. So smokes still good, not great. Concussion grenades, aka now stun grenades. Then you have flashbangs, of course. Those are cheese. Of course, they're always good. They always help you win fights, but they're cheese. And I think aim assist works through both of them, at least through flashbangs. I can't prove it, but I've had a lot of times where I still get kills through flashbangs that I shouldn't have. Experimental gas is okay, but you hurt yourself. You don't really use it. Shock charges, people don't really use as much. Snapshots are good if they've changed them. I haven't messed with them, but the last change, and they might have reverted this with Black Ops 6, is that it had to have line of sight on them. I'm assuming it's still the same. So if it's not, then they're good. And of course we have stims, which they had way too strong. Then they nerfed them too much. Now they've rebuffed them. Stims are really good if you're going to be aggressive. When ranked comes out, smokes might be the way, especially because thermals will probably be banned. And then you look for like a munitions vest. But for now, I would go with stims. And if you want to be cheese, of course, you can go flashbang or concussion, help you win fights. Decoys are kind of useless. Neurogas is an interesting one, but I just don't think it's strong enough to be better than getting out of fights, healing, getting faster movement with stims, or being able to rotate or revive with smokes. So I would recommend going with stims and impacts. Of course, you can go with smokes, like I said. There's none other I would really go. And then I would go frag, semtex, or impact. I wouldn't mess with thermobaric, molotov, drill charge. If you want to be rat, blast trap, or spring mine, and if you're aggressive, especially if you're solo versus duo, trios, or quads, and you need to finish your kills quickly, throwing knife, combat axe are fine. But I would really stick with impact grenade and stim shots. So just to review things one more time, we have our primary AR, our primary SMG as 8 attachments, so we can get those separate and take advantage of gunfighter. We have a GPR, Jackal, loadout, our main AR and SMG, and an overkill loadout for like regains, or when we can only grab loadout for one loadout for whatever reason and not buy another gun. Then we went and set it up with sniper and our favorite sniper support, same logic. We also have an overkill loadout, and then a loadout to be able to buy battle ready, and you can add one for bandolier if you would like, and also so you can buy your main SMG with 5 attachments, because everything else on this list besides the PP919 is able to be bought with 5 attachments, and I may go add a 5 attachment one with bandolier just in case I ever want bandolier. And then of course we're mainly focused on gunfight, overkill, and battle ready for the wildcards. Best tactical is stim shot or smoke, and best lethal is probably semtex, frag, or impact, unless you want to be really sweaty playing against solo versus more than solo, and you go throwing knives over battle axe because they throw farther and they throw quicker. So that's the best way to set up your loadouts to be the most successful and to help yourself out the most and make the most use of the limited loadout space you have. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you like this type of content and want to see it first. And comment down below what you think of my suggestions, where I'm right, wrong, smart, or dumb. And like I said, all of my Twitch, all my socials, and my single player channel linked down below. But I will see you in the perk video. Have a great day. Get frying. Bye.